Thank you, Mickey. Buenas tardes a todos. Me da mucho gusto poder estar aquí con ustedes y felicidades al congresista Beccera por el honor que va a recibir. I want to spend a special thank you to Charlie Gonzalez, Representative Gonzalez. Spent many years in San Antonio, and I've always been represented by a Gonzalez forever, and I hope that remains the case. Good stuff. I also want to saludar a los embajadores de aquí de España y de México por su presencia. Muchas gracias. Estamos colaborando con ellos estrechamente. We've come a long way since 1994, when Willful Neglect was released by the Smithsonian to point out the fact that the institution was not doing a very good job of representing the contributions, the culture, the achievements of the Latino community across the board in the arts, sciences, and humanities. The Smithsonian Center, the Latino Center, is established to correct that situation and to work closely with institutions in ensuring that there is Latino presence throughout the institution. We're very pleased with what we've been able to accomplish. Thanks, of course, to the work of Congressman Beccera in helping us establish a source of federal funds to provide funding to do that work with. I'll give you a couple of examples. In September, we're opening up a major show on the Beccera project, on the Beccera program, a farm labor program that, of course, occurred many years ago during World War II. It opens at the American History Museum. In November, we're opening up in a very, very important exhibition entitled The African Presence in Mexico. The Mexican government will be involved with us. Those couple of examples of the kind of work that we're going to continue to do because we think it's important to ensure that our presence resonates throughout the institution. We have a variety of educational programs for high school youth as well as for museum professionals. I brought a bunch of material out on the table as you exit. I guess these doors, you'll see a table there. I encourage you to pick up some information about what we're doing at the Latino Center. This year we're going to be also celebrating Panama, paying tribute to this incredible country that I think oftentimes, Panama, the canal, must be the canal. Panama is much more than the canal, my friends. I will tell you that right away. I'm happy that Paula Kruger is here from PBS because actually we're going to be presenting the great Ruben Blades, we hope, in a conversation about his music on September the 24th. PBS and WGBH are launching a special Latino music series that particular month, and we hope to kick it off in grand form with Ruben and Paul and her gang. So please be on the lookout for that. 2010 is also very important for us. 2010 signifies the independence of several countries from Spain. The Spanish government is involved with that. I'm very happy to see the Embajador de Xavier con nosotros. Él va también a colaborar con nosotros estrechamente, inclusive la Embajada de México, también de Chile y Argentina. Those will be a lot of the focus that we will be playing in 2010. It also happens to be the centennial of the Mexican Revolution. So Mexico will be very well represented within the activities, and Mexican Americans, of course, because like many of people like me, we are products of the Mexican Revolution in many, many ways. If the Mexican Revolution doesn't happen, I don't live, literally. Many of us are in that situation, and so it's more than a celebration in Mexico. It's also an understanding that the Mexican Revolution had enormous impact on our communities across the Southwest and other places. So we invite you to get onto our website. We have a wonderful new Latino virtual museum. We talk about the museum, the Latino museum that hopefully will be established at some point. Again, Congressman Becerra, a big champion of that effort. We have a virtual museum online through our website, which is www.latino.si.edu. If you all are familiar with Second Life technology, if you're not, those of you who have children, I'm sure know about Second Life technology. You can actually go in, create an avatar for yourself, that is another of you, and actually visit our virtual museum. So we may not have an actual physical museum, but our museum is open for business at the Latino Center website. We invite you to shed your fears about technology, get yourself an avatar, have fun creating another you, and visit our museum. Mickey, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you this afternoon.
Who better to introduce our honored guest for keynote remarks than Esther Aguilera, President and CEO of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute since 2004, the year the Latino Leaders Luncheon series began. Esther is a well-regarded leader, a tenacious advocate for the Hispanic community, and one of the many who have benefited from their professional experience with Congressman Beccera. Please welcome Esther for the introduction of our keynote speaker.
Thank you, Mickey, for bringing us together, and I'm proud to say I am a recent attendee, a frequent attender of your luncheons, and appreciate the fact that, again, you bring us together. I am thrilled and honored to introduce Congressman Xavier Beccera, our honoree for today's luncheon. Congressman Beccera was elected by his colleagues as vice chair of the Democratic Caucus, the fifth-ranking Democrat in the House of Representatives. Imagine, elected by his colleagues, mounted a campaign for this very, very important post. He brings 2 decades of public service experience to mounting and developing the legislative and policy agenda for the caucus. He represents the 31st District of California, elected in 1992 for that post. In a recent interview, Xavier talks about his role as the vice chair of the Democratic Caucus and how he gets to know every member of the caucus in that position. Also, he gets a feel and a pulse for the Congress. He is at the leadership table, developing the nation's policies, the Congress legislative agenda. It is an impressive position. We're so proud. Serves alongside Leader Nancy Pelosi, the nation's first woman in this important position. I can go on about Javier's work on the powerful Ways and Means Committee, where the nation's tax, health, income security, the future of Social Security, and trade policy are debated. But I most wanted you to get to know some of the amazing qualities of this leader, who I am proud to call one of my mentors. I worked for Xavier when he was chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus in 1997. I was the executive director. Xavier, you look the same. Even though I know that your 3 lovely daughters are probably my size, you must be so proud of them as well. Having worked alongside Xavier, I know the amount of work he puts into everything he does, every decision he makes. But first, everyone knows Xavier. Everyone that knows Xavier feels comfortable calling him Xavier, if you've noticed. And that says a lot about this person, because he's the type of person that takes the time to get to know you. He takes the time to learn the impact that national policy has on real people. Second, everyone who knows Xavier will agree that he brings incredible intellectual capacity, again, to everything he does. Third, everyone who knows Xavier calls him a champion of causes, a champion for his district, for Los Angeles, for the nation, for the Congress, for the Latino community. We all thank you for your leadership in mounting what we now have as legislation to help push the Latino Museum for the first time, a museum that will capture the contributions of Latinos in this great nation. And it is also because of champions like Xavier, board member and past chair of CHCI, that makes it possible for us to do our work in impacting lives. Just wanted to mention CHCI is about success stories. Some of them are here today. Stephanie Valencia was mentioned earlier. She's one of our alumni from CHCI. Stephanie, we're very proud of you. Gabriela Gomez, who was recently announced for Assistant Vice President, Department of Education, Congressional Affairs. Luis Campillo, who works for Mickey Ibarra. All of these individuals and more got these opportunities because of leaders like Xavier, Charlie Gonzalez, the other board members on CHCI, because they take the time to give back. Xavier was featured last week in Politico magazine as one of the 4 members mentioned, rising stars and future potential Speaker of the House. We really wish and hope for that. We will be there with you. Need I say more? Please welcome our rising star, our star, Congressman Xavier Beccera.
Thank you. I've been told I may have a vote, so you better sit. Thank you very much. Esther, thank you for the words. Good thing I treated you nicely when you were working for me. It's great to see all of you here. To Mickey Ibarra and the Latino Leaders Network, congratulations on the success of an idea that has now become something that we all benefit from when we eat the fruit of these great luncheons. To all the sponsors who make it possible, especially our 2 main sponsors, Coca-Cola and Verizon. To Peter, thank you. To Rudy, thank you. You know, this is the kind of party Rudy's accustomed to throwing. The only difference is that people showed up to this one. Only a Becerra can say that to another Becerra. Huh? Okay, don't you try that. I've been told that we may have votes soon, so I probably will keep my remarks a little briefer than I expected. But I've also, for those Tejanos who are in the room, I've learned very well from a Tejano who once said to me, remember, your speech is no different from that longhorn steer that we're accustomed, the horns on that longhorn steer that we're accustomed to seeing in Texas. A point here, a point there, and a lot of bull in between. So remember what you say. I know that Congressman Mike Honda was here, I believe had to leave, and Congressman Filner, I believe, also came by. I want to thank them for having come and recognize the importance of this luncheon. To Ambassadors Sarukan and Descayar, I want to say thank you for being here as well. To all of you, leaders in your own right, thank you for being leaders and recognizing the importance of coming together to network and learn from each other. I think we're all very blessed. I know for a fact I am very blessed. It's really interesting. You're always told once you start to have an opportunity to do things, don't forget from where you came. Don't forget. And for many of us, I know for me, those origins were very, very humble. My father got to about the 6th grade. My mother came from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, when she married my father at the age of 18. And while they never had a lot to give, they always gave back to this country. But what I have learned is that too often we're so busy trying to remember from where we came that we forget to leave a little bit of room to work towards where we have to go. Sometimes we're a little too humble. Sometimes we're a little too appreciative of what we've accomplished. Sometimes we forget that a lot of it was as a result of our own effort. People helped, but recognize when the force of your own will and the sheer effort behind your tenacity has given you a chance to be where you are. Not long ago, my daughter, who plays softball, she's in the 4th grade, was at bat, and a good friend of ours, a neighbor friend of ours, he's always trying to cheer on the team, and he would always yell to all the kids, and when Natalia, my daughter, got up to bat, he said it the same thing, and it struck me when he said it, when I started thinking about some words I was going to give at a future speech. He'd always get up there and by the diamond and say to the kids, be a hitter, because, you know, most of the time these kids, when they pitch, they don't throw anything but balls, and so all the kids just watch and they get on base free because there's so many balls that are thrown, they don't have to worry about strikes. So he's always telling them, be a hitter, be a hitter. Be a hitter. I want to be a hitter. I want to remember my humble origins. I want to thank those who've made it possible for me to rise. I want to help those who didn't get helped. But I want to be a hitter. Because if I just spend my time thanking people and remembering from where I came, I won't have time to hit that ball out of the park. And I got to hit it out of the park because there are too many people who will never get to go to that plate, to take the bat, to take one swing at the ball. And so I better be a hitter. And so, Vicki, I say to you, thank you for being a hitter and knowing the importance of bringing all of us together so we can all have our turn at the plate. Now, I've witnessed and experienced a lot in my 16-plus years in the Congress. I've halted legislative activity on the floor of the House to defend legal immigrant seniors, elderly, who were being told they would have to lose their supplemental security income so we could pay for the unemployment benefits of people back in 1993 when we were suffering through another recession. I captained the defeat in 1994 of a proposal on the floor of the House to bar children from attending school simply because they happen to be the children of immigrants, whether legally here or not. I stood up against the impeachment of a president of the United States. I experienced the shock and eerie silence of an abandoned Capitol grounds on September 11, 2001. I challenged a president's rush to war in Iraq in 2002 as one of only 128 to vote against a resolution to authorize war in Iraq out of 435. I stood up early to help elect the first president of the United States of color. I authored and helped pass the legislation you've been told about that establishes a commission that I hope in the near future gives us a chance to break ground on what will be the Museum of the American Latino here in Washington.